Hi, this is Bruce Himmelblau with Indie Film Nation. So, speaking of casting and actors, let's bring on Jorge.
Break it free from the mainstream, the studio machine. I want it my way. Indie Film Nation, you know it's gotta be Indie Film Nation.
How did you find Jorge? Was it through his previous work? Because I did see him in Roma. But was it through connections or it was a casting process?
Yeah, I knew of him because I'd seen Roma, and like many of us, like the film very much, and he's a very memorable presence in the film. So when I asked to meet him, I went to Mexico City to do some casting, and he was one of the people that, through the casting director, I said, is he available on the dates that we want to shoot, and can we meet him? Can I meet him? And she said, yeah, you can meet him. So there was an appointment that was scheduled to meet in Mexico City. But then when I got to Mexico City, on my way there, actually, she sent me a text saying, unfortunately, Jorge has a date conflict on the shooting date, so he's not available, so you have to cancel the meeting. So I spent a week in Mexico meeting a lot of actors, some of them very good actors, but I couldn't meet Jorge. And I was kind of upset about it because he was the one person that I really wanted to meet. And then on my way, as I was leaving Mexico City, I had been in touch with Roma's producer, Nico, and I was texting him, and he's very busy. I was pretty busy myself, but luckily his office was on the way to the airport. So I said, on my way out, we can meet and talk, just to say hi, because we only had met on the internet. So I did that, and he was very nice. I came with my little bag. I positioned it at the entrance, and we went into his office. He closed the door and shut off his phone, and we talked for an hour. And he asked me, how is the casting going? And he knew I was casting. I said, well, I don't know who of the actors that I met I would like to use, but I really feel bad that I can't meet your actor, meaning Jorge. And he said, why didn't you meet Jorge? And I said, because he's unavailable. And so on the dates. And then she said, but what? I am the co-producer of the movie he's doing in Canada. So let's look together. He had the production board. So we're looking together at the schedule. And there was a way to make this work. Not obvious, but there was a way. So then I was like, oh my God, it's amazing that I'm here meeting you, because if I wasn't meeting you, I had written him off. He's unavailable. So then the next thing that happened is Nico contacted Jorge as I left and told him, hey, this guy has a script and he wants you to read it. So that's how it happened. So then Jorge will tell you his end of the story, but once Jorge read it, we talked, and I said he liked it, and I said, let's do this film together. So of all the actors that I met in Mexico all read for the part, but I didn't feel like I needed Jorge to read. But what I did is he was in Canada, so I took a plane and I went to meet him. Before we started working, I went to Montreal, and we had lunch together.
So, Jorge, tell me about you playing WALT in this movie, and who you thought WALT was.
Thank you very much, Bruce. And when Nico sent me the script, he put like maybe he misunderstood like the title of the film, and he put like WALT, which is like We Are Living Things, and he said like, the main character is WALT. I said, all right. So I was reading the script and I was amazed. I was really amazed for that. And at the end of my reading, I said, like, okay, I want to get involved on this, but who is Walt? And I text Nico, like, hey man, the script is really good. I love it, but Antonio, what's looking for? And he replied me, no, it's Solomon. So for me, it was a huge notice, because I said like, whoa, it's something related with this field, which is what is the limit of the sky? And for me, the UFOs it has a relationship with that, in that perspective that I gather at that moment of my first reading. So I really felt it. thank you. And yeah, after that, we meet each other at Montreal because I was doing this other film, and everything happened, you know, in a natural, coincidental way. Because the rehearsals that Antonio asked for us, for Xingshen and I, they were like yeah, like naturally scheduled. Because I was just in the middle of this film in Canada, and they the producers here. Well, I'm still in Montreal now, so they managed, you know, like they were very flexible and help Fang and Antonio, and yeah, we did it. When I finished, Drunken Birds is the name of the Canadian film, Les Oiseaux Ivres en français. At the second day, I was flying to New Jersey in a connection fly, and I was in the set, you know, like without resting. It was for me was really really beautiful, and I say like all the time to Antonio that yeah, that I was there. You know, I would make like any effort to be involved. You know.
So basically, with this film, we're talking about aliens in two different circumstances. One, aliens to America, and other is aliens to the planet.
Mm.
How did you convey that, and your perspective on that?
So it changed myself like a lot. The perception of why you go out exactly. You know what is the inside reason that you're trying to find by moving? Because and this is very personal. You know, I still gathering the idea of love as something that is not exactly pleasant sometimes, which just takes like a confrontation of stop being what you think you were. And I think that these two projects, like one after the other, is it has a deep relationship with the idea of that mythology, which is in the limit of the sky. So I perceive this idea of the unseen or something that is like watching you, etc., with a deep relationship with love. And the first time that I saw the film, I was really moved. Honestly, I saw it in Mexico.
What type of films do you approach as your favorite type of films?
Well, any type of film, you know. I love when they're like very far from the idea of myself, you know. Honestly, I don't have like a preference for this or that. It's just like uh, in relationship with with real living things. I still like, and when I hear Antonio, I still feel like the bravery of something. It seems that it will become illegal to fall in love, to really fall in love in a magnetic way, you know. For me,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes has that rhythm, you know. That's why I feel that it's very brave how they um, told the story in a in edition, and how Antonio worked with Alex for me was like, whoa.
You had your own unique languages, Chinese and Spanish, but then you met in the middle with English. Is that
Yeah,
something?
yeah, that's and look, this is something that happened when we were like in the set. Sometimes I understood what Xingchen was saying in Chinese when she was like speaking like fluency with the because with fans, you know. Sometimes she speaks, you know, and I feel like I try to guess, and I told her like, you were saying this, you were saying this, and for me that's the beauty of working with this kind of disposition, you know.
So the film got into Slamdance, and what are those plans?
Yeah, I mean, the film had its world premiere at the Deauville Festival of American Cinema in the fall in France, which is the second biggest festival in France after Cannes, of course. and it's a great showcase of U.S. films in France. And the film played very well to a very, very large theater. It was a live screening. Slamdance, unfortunately, became virtual because of Omicron. We're also looking at kind of fantasy festivals. They're divided in categories or sci-fi. So we were just at the Boston Sci-Fi Film Festival, which was also at a live screening and virtual. So some of them are hybrid. So the film will have its festival course now in different countries. And at the same time, we have a sales agent trying to basically place the film with a distributor in various countries, but of course in the US and in the countries of co-production are US, Italy, China, and Mexico is not a formal co-producer because we didn't raise funds or money in Mexico, but we have Jorge, who's a known entity in Mexico. So we're hoping to be able to find distributors of one sort of another in those countries. But it's it's a bit like this section of the process is a little bit out of my hands. Honestly, it's a little bit mysterious. It's also been tinkered with because of COVID, so there is a little bit of a bottleneck of a lot of films that have been held back in terms that are ready and needing to find their niche audiences through either a platform or through a limited theatrical. So I can talk about it, but it's more like for hearsay. It's not something that I deeply know myself, how to do or what's going to happen. Of course, we want the film to be seen by as many people as possible, but it has to be the right people in the right way, in the right platform, because I think there are very few films that are for everybody. And this film that we made is a film that a lot of people can appreciate, but it needs to find its target audience. So the festivals can be very useful because they enable you to be in a room with people and we see the reactions. And like the reaction in France and in Boston was completely different. They were both positive reactions, but in Boston, people were laughing at lines because they got those, because there's a scene where Jorge comes and they're in a motel room, they're kind of going towards Arizona and it's snowing out, and he went out to get some food and he comes in and it says, I got you some Chinese, to his Chinese partner, and in America everybody just laughs, in France they weren't laughing. It's interesting, and there were 800 people in the room. I didn't hear a laughter. In a much smaller screening room in Boston, people were like really laughing. So those are little things that you say, okay, that's this. What is reaching an audience, and in what way? It's very interesting,
Hey, so you talked about audience and festivals and submitting it to a sci-fi festival. I really wouldn't. I mean, there is some sci-fi elements of this film, but that's not the core of this film. The core of this film is more of a love story.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
how do you choose a festival to submit to, and how do you choose an audience to promote to?
Well, it's interesting. The Boston Sci-Fi, which is the 47th year they have it, it's the oldest sci-fi film festival in America. So they were the ones who approached us. They wanted a screener and they see the movie, they loved the movie. Then Jorge got nominated for Best Actor and the film was nominated for Best Film. I thought, oh, well, it's a bit maybe early to go to genre films, but they really want the film. We can let them have the film, but yeah, I wouldn't target I think sci-fi is misleading, but it depends. There was a warning in the festival's description of the film, this is more of a drama and a love story and on the road, than a sci-fi. But if sci-fi, the fact that we don't see aliens or we don't see this presence, but this kind of skies this presence in the sky is what Jorge was talking about, is very present in the film, so it's it's an open interpretation of what sci-fi can be, but science fiction is maybe not the right way to explain what that is, but it's certainly a transcendent and a presence that is in the film that could be what these two characters have in common and that very few other people in the world believe in or have. And that's why there is a strong connection between them, which is not made with so many words, but just a sense that there's somebody else out there like me.
Yep.
that believes in or is drawn to the same thing.
It had elements of the film that were common to popular films, but at the same time, it was also unique in its approach of the two main characters and how they get together and who they are.
Yes, I think they're you know, I think what's interesting when you're creating dramatic construction, you know, it's if something can be a coincidence, but it can also be destiny at the same time. If you manage to somehow stage that, those encounters, they become pretty interesting, you know. So it's a total coincidence that they meet, but it turns out they live very close to one another, these two characters. And it turns out that they're both quote unquote aliens, meaning they're both displaced. They're both lacking an identification. You know, if you don't have an ID, you don't really have, you know, you don't really exist in a society, or at least you're transparent, you're disposable, because you don't count. You're not, you know, you're not counted. You're not in the censorship. You know, you know, if there's census, you don't appear. So for all purpose, you can't vote. You can't get any of the benefits. You're illegal, meaning that it's even illegal to work. And work is the only way you can sustain yourself. So you don't exist. So you're really, like we say, aliens don't exist. We don't believe in them. But maybe we don't believe, you know, at least these people, they're not reciprocated by the environment they live in. So in that way, they have those things in common. And then it turns out they have, you know, through magnetic stones and through their beliefs, they realize that what they have in common is this kind of belief that there is a presence out there. And whether they created that in order to survive or whether that presence really exists is questionable. It could be both.
We'll look more for We Are Living Things coming soon to a screen near you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Jorge. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Antonio.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Break it free from the mainstream, the studio machine.